Hi, everybody. We're the Skeleton Crew, and today we're going to talk about the trailer for a new prehistoric life documentary that was just announced by Netflix.
Wow.
I think before we say anything about the documentary, we should watch the trailer. But before we watch the trailer, brief reminder, I'm Dr. James Napoli, in case you've forgotten. And in case you want reminding, I'm a postdoctoral researcher at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences and North Carolina State University.
I'm sure you haven't forgotten, but my name is Amelia Zietlow. I am a PhD candidate at the American Museum of Natural History.
I can't think of anything clever to say, but I'm Scott Johnston, the vertebrate paleontology fossil preparator and technician at Harvard University's Museum of Comparative Zoology.
I have forgotten, but a post-it note on my computer says that I'm Alex Rubenstahl, a PhD candidate at Yale University.
And to stave off the Sunday scaries, I repeat to myself, I'm Dalton Meyer. I'm a PhD candidate at Yale University. And together, we're the
Skeleton Crew.
All right. So I think, why don't we just watch the trailer right now?
For the first time.
For the first time.
Ignore that we've all posted on Twitter about this and also released the trailer on our own channel.
I didn't watch it. I have no idea what was in the contents of that video. I saw it, hit download, and hit post. That was it. Yeah. All right. Scott, let us know when we're ready to go.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Let's take a look.
Ooh, it's in a book.
Nah, on the show.
Reading rain.
Like the little guy.
Long. Wave. Wet.
Fish.
Flat.
Foot.
Quentin Tarantino alert.
Quentin Tarantino.
Dog.
Dog, yeah. Cat. Elephant.
Snuffleupagus.
Lame. Cool.
Words.
Bubbles.
Balls.
Fish.
I
King.
love that fish. Oh.
Villain.
Rude. Bug.
Scuttle.
Siemens.
Squid. Dunk.
Not short enough.
Hot. Also hot.
Bird.
Also hot.
Also hot.
Pig.
Creep.
Too many good things. All right.
This is the
Morgan
story
Freeman.
Dinosaurs.
of life
Morgan
on
Freeman.
our
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to say it, but he is kind of the bargain bin version of our man.
You mean of David Attenborough?
Yeah, I kind of wish they were swapped.
All right. So that trailer looks phenomenal to my eyes. I'm
Yeah,
very
honestly.
excited for the show. There's a little bit of backstory that I think I can say, which is only to say I knew about this show before I knew about Prehistoric Planet. And when Prehistoric Planet was announced, I thought it was this one. And I remember actually feeling very bad that I couldn't tell Scott about this. I think every time he was talking about Prehistoric Planet, I would send him the gif of Yoda saying there is another.
You did that so many times, and I was so upset.
There is another. Yeah, so it's exciting. I think it's very exciting that Steven Spielberg is involved as an executive producer because, I mean, I don't want to speak for everyone here, but I think we all kind of said a similar thing about Prehistoric Planet, that our one kind of gripe, or I guess just one thing we didn't like about the structure of Prehistoric Planet is a lack of narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
The lack of like storyline. I can't imagine that if Steven Spielberg is involved, there's not a coherent story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
and
I'm
our
excited.
other criticism was it's only the Maastrichtian. And this
Yeah,
is
and-
decidedly not.
Yeah.
I think we can kind of discuss it further once we get to it in the trailer, but I have noticed themes already. There are themes, everybody.
Well, then why don't we talk about the first theme you notice?
Okay.
Well, I mean, I if I'm going to summarize the vibe I get from the trailer, it's like a vibe about major life transitions. Like there seems to be a focus on extinctions, but also on like important things that happen, like origin of birds, terrestrialization of tetrapods, and maybe the evolution of jaws with Dunkleosteus. We'll see. But I think it's going to be structured like almost like a lecture on the history of life. which I think is pretty neat.
I think so too. Kind of like an almost comprehensive Walking With series.
I'll have you know, you buffoon, you idiot, that it does exist if you buy the box set, and then you can watch all of them, and they're all called Walking With.
Alex, I've seen Walking with Monsters. It's not a comprehensive Walking With series. It conveys. I hate Walking with Monsters.
Really?
Why do you hate Walking with Monsters?
Well, no, I mean, I liked it a lot as a kid. To my understanding, a tremendous amount of it is factually very iffy, in a way that the other Walking With series didn't really suffer from.
Especially Walking with Dinosaurs, known paragon of scientific accuracy.
Everything was right, okay? All of it was right.
Okay.
But also I think there's an argument to be made that I really thought the evolution animations were very cool as a way to show evolution happening between groups. Yeah. But I think there's probably an argument to be made that it kind of is a little misleading in that it shows what seems to be a linear transition instead of like the diversification of a lineage. It's like it looks like it's one ancestor-descendant relationship for 300 million years, but
I mean, it
also doesn't do that.
Well, right. No, I mean it is, but you know what I mean. The idea that evolution's a linear progression versus like a kind of never-ending branching web.
Sure.
I don't know.
No, that's not unreasonable.
Yeah, but then again, as a kid, I felt like it was a really good illustration of a point that I didn't quite understand of like how you go from chordate to Metrodon. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's just me being overly picky as a specialist now. Yes, known not overly picky person, James Napoli.
I appreciate that for what it's trying to do. And in the country I live in, like 35% of the population doesn't even think it's real. So like, I don't really give a shit if the public thinks it's a little more linear than it really is. There's a crack in an egg.
There's a crack in an egg.
It's a hard-shelled egg. It's blue, as Scott mentioned. So it's probably a theropod.
Yes. Also, the shape is theropod-y. Mm-hmm. And also the color.
And the texture.
Yeah. Now, Dalton, do you have a guess of what animal that egg belongs to?
I think it might be Deinonychus or an Oviraptorosaur, because both of those groups were found to have had blue-green colored eggshells in the study that deduced the color of dinosaur eggshells.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to get a you can't really see the animal inside, can you?
No.
You can see just a little bit of something wiggling underneath that looks like it could be like the end of a snout, maybe a little bit of an egg tooth, but that's it.
Yeah, I'm really hopeful it's Deinonychus. I think it would be very poetic for Spielberg to produce a documentary that shows Deinonychus as a real animal and feathered and everything. Mm-hmm. I would like to see that. I hope that Deinonychus is in the show. So after the egg, there's a little guy.
What is this little feller?
I don't know what the little feller is.
Let's use your brain. There's a big guy behind him.
There's a dingosaur.
Looks like a dingosaur.
I'm going to guess it's a sauropodomorph, a basal sauropodomorph.
But
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
It's huge.
What if it's like a little, some kind of little archosaur form or something?
Like a Euparkeria type thing?
I would.
Yeah, what if it's like a little poposaur baby?
Oh, it could be.
Little shuvasaur.
That thing behind it is definitely like a theropod.
No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
but, one too.
Well, it could either be big or this could be very small. Right? We're not. I'm assuming it's big. It looks big, but
look at the shape of those claws. Yeah.
Look at the trees.
I could imagine it being like a Plesiosaur and this being a tiny baby of that, but the more I look at it, the more I don't think so.
It's definitely not a sauropodomorph. Like,
okay.
From how it looks, it definitely isn't. I would say it's something like archosaur-y, but not dinosaur, especially that they're kind of highlighting it being quadrupedal and then running on two legs and stuff.
Well, and this looks like it's the same environment as later with the bird that's being stared at.
Oh, it's definitely not. I don't think so, anyways.
I kind of get the vibe.
Wait, Scott, I'm sorry. You're saying it's not the bird that's being stared at. I think it could be the same environment.
Really?
You think I don't know what it would be.
The Anchiornis environment is what you're referring to?
This guy is...
There's like big trees and it's mossy and it's got that kind of cedar floor and there's a big theropod lurking around in the trees and it's lit exactly the same.
That's a good point. I guess my brain is stuck on this as the Triassic for some reason.
I don't
feel
think
like
it
this could be a
necessarily is.
sauropodomorph.
I have an idea of what it might be, actually. I just want to check something really quickly. And what if it is like an early Charistideer? Do any of them have those proportions?
Oh my god, what did I do to my curl? My side curl is
I don't think
completely
any
erupted.
Charistideers are bipedal, to my knowledge.
I don't think any are. You're
It's
right.
got a real short tail too. He has
Also,
a very
its head is pretty tall.
its head is
Yeah.
very Tuatara.
Well, I think we gotta
something bad. They did a bad job doing it.
listen. It is a baby. So we have to keep that in mind with the head shape. I do see a lizardiness to it, but I don't know. I'm gonna go with a some sort of sauropodomorph baby, or like some sort of ornithischian baby. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't see a beak on it.
That's true. I don't see a beak either. Maybe it is a Shuvasaur.
But it would be if it's in the Anchiornis.
No Shuvasaurs there. They all
No,
die
they're all
out.
extinct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at what's found with Anchiornis, and nothing jumps out as an obvious.
Okay, hear me out. This is a bipedal baby sauropod.
I just don't think. I don't think it's a sauropod of any kind.
I don't think so either.
Like, it does
I'm
look
ready
like
to be proven wrong.
Paleosaurus, but if it's the Anchiornis thing, then it wouldn't be the right time.
Well, there are apparently there are trackways of baby diplodocoids that seem like they might have been bipedal.
Yeah, but they still have sauropod hands. Like, they don't have. Like, I mean, this
Yeah.
thing's blurry, but those don't look like sauropod
Yeah,
hands.
I can't really tell what his little hands look like.
You can see it in just a second on here, like going back and forth here. It has a fully little grasping hand. It's not a sauropod hand.
Yeah.
Or at least it's not a derived sauropod hand.
Hear me out. Eoraptor baby?
I don't know the timing.
Yeah.
I mean, but
we
we
don't
don't
know
know
it's
this is
the
the
Anchiornis
Anchiornis.
segment.
It does look like it, but
Right.
I think
If
also
it's the Triassic, there's 18 different things it can be.
Mhm.
oh yeah, everything looked like this in the Triassic when it was a baby.
If it's the Jurassic, it's a little more complex.
What if
yeah,
it's
I
like
guess-
a really ugly baby dromaeosaur?
Actually, also
Naked.
the key point here is it doesn't even fully run off bipedal. It runs for 2 steps bipedal and then it goes back down onto all fours.
it's got a pretty upright gait, too.
And a very short tail and a very short neck and a
kind
really
of long body.
and a long body and short back legs
It
and
looks like a Shuvasaur to me. It really.
and a very Tuatara shaped head.
It doesn't have. How many toes does it have?
I can't tell.
I'm going to be
looks
real
like
with you,
it's
Scott. I don't
back.
think it's going back onto 4 legs.
No,
Right,
right
now,
here.
Scott, hold on. Go back to where it's stepping on the walls. At the top of the. That
enhanced.
doesn't look like it's got extra digits hanging off the side, which just makes me.
It does in the back. On the back foot, it looks like there's a little bit of
Yeah,
a
but
blur
that looks
that
like
looks
where
like that's
D1 should be if it were
yeah.
It doesn't look like a Poposaur foot, is what I'm saying. Even if they're digitigrade. I don't know. This one's throwing me.
It's an enigma. I think we got to just wait for more information because I just
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it's a Triassic, so many things it could be.
Yeah. Also,
And I mean-
James, because you can't watch it, it definitely goes back down onto 4 legs.
No, I've been watching and scrubbing. I think it's tilting because of the.
No.
No, I just saw it. Never mind. Yep, you're right. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that it's a baby, plus we just don't know enough to try to place the relative constraint on what it should be, it's going to make it really difficult to tell.
Hey, it's like real baby dinosaur paleontology.
Yeah.
Speaking of baby
don't know what that
dinosaurs,
is.
and speaking of baby sauropodomorphs, what about these cute little guys?
These are
Well,
indeed sweet men and women.
I love the pattern on them, to be honest. Like that beautiful cryptic pattern on the neck.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
And I love that they're hiding in a bunch of ferns and cycads. That's very appropriate.
Mhm. I think too. I'll comment on this because I've seen a lot of discussion about it online so far, which is the posture of the necks, because people have been a little reticent about the adult having the very horizontal posture, which came in vogue in the 90s and has now we've kind of gone back to, they probably had a more upright posture based on the way that neck ligaments and intervertebral cartilage would interact. I think that the babies are probably showing what the necks are going to mostly do. And this is an animal that's bent down to investigate the babies and like be at this level for a time, which I don't doubt that they could do.
Right. Well, it's something that I know, like, is always a difficult topic for documentary filmmakers, is like, especially when you're doing something with the past, how much are you trying to represent what we think the typical was versus something that is realistic and could happen?
Well, yeah, I mean,
So,
also,
like,
like, these things have to drink water at some point, so they definitely could do this.
Right. Well, it's like all the talk over, you know, could sauropods rear up on their hind legs? And like, they had to reproduce. They had to do it sometimes.
Yeah, no, good point.
Like, you know, did they walk bipedally? No. Did they occasionally have the ability to rear back on their hind legs so they could copulate?
Well,
yes. They
I
had
think
to.
that's an example of tripedality.
Well, maybe
depending on,
quadrupedality, depending on some other stuff.
God damn it.
Hexapedology.
Oh my god.
Okay, let's go to the next.
Yeah.
Amelia, sorry, did you have something to say about the Diplodocuses?
No, it was about we don't technically know that they had to stand up.
You're talking about my hypothesis I haven't published on?
That they had tortoise.
Great elephant.
I call it the giant sideways penis hypothesis.
I regret to inform you, you're not the first person that's thought of that.
But you know what? I think I'm the first person who called it that.
All right, now did waves look like this back in the...
I don't know. Do we have any, like, it's hard to tell waves based off of skeletal evidence, obviously.
Okay, here's an important question. Will this shot be in the show at all?
I don't know. It might be in the intro. Like, they have like an intro showing life today, like life on Earth. I'm doing a British accent. It's not a British person narrating. Like, life on Earth is a beautiful
hypothetically, if
tapestry.
Morgan Freeman decides to be British for this show,
Is a tapestry of diversity, and it shows like beautiful nature clips of like, maybe that's where the Komodo dragon and the shark come in. And then it's like, but to understand it, we have to go back in time.
You're talking about this as a shark?
Yeah.
I don't think this is a shark. Look at it. Look at the silhouette. Let it, Scott, play it for a little bit longer. Like this, that's
is a shark.
That's a shark.
Oh, is it?
That's a shark.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's a shark.
Or am I blind? Well, how can you
Did you
tell?
think it was
what do you think it is?
I thought it was like going to be a big goofy fish like Leadsichthys or something. Because it's got that weird long head. But like I am blind and am perhaps missing details that make it clear that it's a shark.
I think it's a great white
animal.
It's shaped like a lamnid.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say it's like a great white or maybe an oceanic white tip reef shark.
It's not an oceanic white tip. Its pectoral fins are wrong.
Yeah, I'm saying the pectoral fins aren't quite right for like the only like I was thinking blue shark with the long face, but like those aren't blue shark fins. And
I think it's just a skinny great white.
Yeah.
I think my bet is that this is at the end of the show with the Komodo dragon. It's like today stuff because this is all real footage. I don't think there's any CG here.
Yeah, that's my impression of it.
Can you make out details of the face of this animal, or is it all in shadow?
It's in shadow and obscured by the text a lot, but I can't see any detail.
It's an odd shape, is my point. And I did not just think of it. The couple times I've seen it, I've tried to make it a living animal. And
no, like the heterocircle tail is very sharky. Like in that shot where you can see, it's like zoomed way out. I couldn't tell you what kind of shark it is, but that's a shark.
I think I'm just gonna go with. I think it's a great white. I'm trying to look up images right now.
I don't think it's a great white.
It's too small.
It's too slender for
big.
I also,
I think it's a baby.
I will say, this has the highest chance of us being embarrassed by it. We should move on because, like, oh yeah.
Because great whites have a really long, like, pre-pectoral fin region of the body.
Yeah, but that long?
Yeah, it can be. It depends on the.
How many of you have seen a great white shark in the wild?
Yeah, whatever.
I have. You're all wrong.
I've seen so many shark shows.
Yeah, That's why I'm confused, because I thought I knew what sharks looked like, but I guess I don't.
I mean, how many times have you been underneath a shark?
A couple at like aquariums
okay.
that have tubes like that you can walk under, and there's sand tigers, and they're just vibing above you. Like, I am not unfamiliar with sharks from various angles.
You
grew up with
sharks.
No, but like I watch Shark Week and I go to aquariums. Whatever. I'm willing to be wrong and stupid and blind about this, but like,
everybody check out the new album from my band, Sharks from Various Angles.
You casual watch Shark Week for sharks. I, a civilized person, watched for Jason Momoa. We should probably move on, shouldn't we?
We're not the chondrocranium crew. We're the skeleton crew, and we can talk about animals with bones.
That was a good joke.
Thank you. It wasn't really, but I'll take it.
Here's some animals with bones.
Yeah,
the trees.
So what I keep thinking is really funny every time I watch this is I always think that big lumpy rock on the right side is an Ankylosaurus, and it's not. Oh, yeah. It's just a rock.
Hey, Scott, this is our first time watching it. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's a good point.
Well, it's our second time.
When I watched it previously, when we played it at the beginning of this video,
right,
I thought that was an Ankylosaurus. It is not.
So
it is a rock.
So I don't really want to comment on the special effects at this point in the video, but this shot looks a tad rough, I would say. It feels like it's probably a fully CGI thing.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the... Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I noticed there's sauropods in the distance, which leads me to wonder if they're doing Alamosaurus and with the Hell Creek fauna.
I think it
looks a little small for Alamosaurus.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if they're doing because of the asteroid with the Rexes. If it's a southern.
That's
fauna.
What I was thinking.
Like that's going to be as close to the impact as.
Where you could see that because those look like Kets.
Yep, those are definitely Ashdarkids up there.
Yeah. Oh, and there's the famous mountain range that completely cut the continent in half and made it that no animal could move north to south.
It explains it all.
Right. It actually also projected a force field that barred pterosaurs from moving north to south. It's the dome from under the dome.
I was going to say it was like that eagle from Cabin in the Woods. Slams into it and explodes.
What a good movie that is.
Oh, that would explain the pterosaur fossil record.
Yeah.
I mean, the Triceratops looks neat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think the consumption of this scene to our viewers who are passionate and full of vigor for science. Now, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I will. I think, at least before the show is out, it's fair to give, perhaps things that your gut is saying, this looks inaccurate. The benefit of the doubt that maybe they asked someone and there's a reason it's like this. Once it's out and it looks, if it's a disaster, I'll, go for it. I don't really care. But for now, let's be measured and thoughtful.
And I think to add on to that point, well, I don't think we can say much more than this. A lot of very smart people were consulted on this show. Some of them have revealed themselves.
Hold on. This does make it sound like we were consulted, and we should clarify we were not.
We were not. I mean, when I first heard about the show, I had just started grad school, and it was already well into production.
Yeah.
So,
this is not jumping on this is not riding in the wake of Prehistoric Planet. This has been in development
as long.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of speculation that this was like Netflix hurriedly trying to cash in on Prehistoric Planet's hype. And to that, I'd say two things. One, I don't think Prehistoric Planet was very successful, but I don't think it was like single-handedly generating the kind of hype that would force Netflix to make a competitor.
No.
It wasn't like the MCU forcing DC to make terrible movies. This was already well into production. And I also think Prehistoric Planet started production quite early. These things take a really long time to be made.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. No, yeah. And also, let's not alienate, there are probably 8-year-olds in our audience who think Zack Snyder makes cool movies.
Rebel Moon.
Yeah. And every once in a while, Hollywood will just randomly put out pairs of movies that have nothing to do with each other, like The Prestige and what is it, The Illusionist or whatever.
Deep Impact Armageddon.
Deep Impact
Dante's
Armageddon.
Peak and Volcano.
White House Down and
Olympus Has Fallen.
Olympus Has Fallen.
Also,
I like that pair because both movies are awful.
One is way better than the other.
Yeah,
I forget which one it is. It's the one with Gerard Butler is better.
Yeah, no, that's Olympus Has Fallen.
Yeah,
that one's better.
That one's better.
Yeah,
Olympus
Has Fallen is way better.
I haven't seen either of them. But yeah, so I think it's just worth it for the audience. Both of these documentaries were in production for a long period of time. This was not a rushed cash grab or something like that. I don't know quite what the timeline on this was like. My gut tells me that there were probably a lot of pauses in production because it did take a really long time to come out. I think this was in production before Prehistoric Planet.
It was certainly in production before COVID, and that almost certainly caused delays.
Right. And I think it's just, I think it's just good that we're getting multiple dinosaur documentaries. I'm going to talk at the end. I think the goals of these shows are very different, and I think they should be looked at from that perspective. But let's go through the rest of the
rising tide.
Indeed. Yeah. Speaking of
large theropod dinosaurs in a paleo environment, they could in fact coexist. And these shows can coexist.
Exactly.
Indeed. Yeah. Speaking of timeline issues, we said we were going to be quick on this. It's been 18 seconds.
Oh my God.
It's only been 30 minutes. This is for us. We're still ripping through it.
Yeah.
Still.
Next.
We said we were going to be snappy. Let's be snappy.
Scott.
Bird.
Oh my God! It's
hey Alex, your jokes don't work as well when I can't watch it because I'm literally controlling.
Oh, that wasn't a joke. I did accidentally suck my gum into my throat.
Amelia, your camera has disappeared.
Not for me.
Okay.
No, you still there?
Oh, for me. All right, whatever.
Okay. No,
everything.
I'm going to talk about Anchiornis now.
And whatever this thing is in the background, do we want to speculate? What?
Anyway, in the foreground is a cool dude, and this is Anchiornis, and he's a little guy. I don't want to go too much into him because we're probably going to react to this, but this looks super cool. This looks like the coloring, the kind of light floofiness to the feathers, and even kind of the more recent thoughts about the crest. Oh my God, about the crest on the head have been taken into account here. This is one of the dinosaurs that we have done kind of color reconstruction. The paleontologists have done a reconstruction of the color of its in-life color.
It was the first one we knew the color for.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
The techniques were pioneered on Anchiornis. Yeah.
200 of these. It is abundant to kind of an absurd degree.
It's good at
there
dying.
Are a lot of, and I don't mean species. I mean, like in terms of specimens, a lot of these gorgeous feathered dinosaurs are known from like maybe 2 or 3 specimens. This one is. There are a lot of them. They were apparently pretty common. But yeah. So anyway, and it looks like behind it we have some kind of. So Anchiornis is from the very it's from the very late Middle Jurassic, or is it the very early Late Jurassic? It's been a while. And it's older than Archaeopteryx, which was pretty exciting when it was first discovered because it was the first feathered dinosaur older than Archaeopteryx. But that would make the guy behind it probably some kind of allosauroid, probably a Metriacanthosaur, so something like Synraptor, which might be a little too late, but something in that group. There are no big theropods from the formation that Anchiornis is known from, but almost all the animals known from that formation are little guys.
Yeah, it's one of these deep lake deposits, so it's a lot of things drifting out into the lake and getting buried. So you can preserve really small things in exquisite detail. It's harder to float out a whole like a large theropod dinosaur,
a heresy raptor.
Right. Actually, so Synraptor is about the right age. I would not be surprised if this animal's mostly based on Synraptor.
I think young Tyrannosaurus might be a little older. And I also don't know if I said that wrong, and I feel shame.
It doesn't.
Young Tyrannosaurus is a little bit later.
It doesn't strike me as young Tyrannosaurus because it like young Tyrannosaurus is pretty notable for kind of like more of a kind of almost pair of crests, well not crests, like high ridges on its head, and this doesn't seem to have it.
Actually, I'm sorry. Young Tyrannosaurus is about the same age as well. So, like, they're all Oxfordian, right? It could be any of these guys.
I think all that matters for us at this point is that it is entirely, not even entirely reasonable. I think it's almost certain that some animal like this would have lived here in the same place. We knew that they were around around the same time in the general region, unless there was the Metriacanthosaur exclusion zone in which, Anchiornis lives.
Oh, and they got the feathers on the arm right. They have it attaching down the second finger like they're supposed to, which is rad.
So.
Yeah, no, they did. So I got to say, well, I'll talk about special effects later. The Anchiornis looks just so beautiful. I just love the way it's rendered.
Yeah, we'll come back to it later. But let's see who our next friend is.
Mm-hmm.
Next friend.
To understand life.
Hey.
No.
I like the kind of, at least in the way that the trailer goes, the pairing of, hey, look at these saber teeth. Look at those saber teeth.
A theme.
This thing looks so good. I don't know what it is, but it's so well done. Like, thank you. I think it's because every other, if it is a Gorgonopsid, like every other one of those that's been done in a documentary has been done with early 2000s CGI. And so they all just kind of look crummy. This is the first time I've seen one actually done well. That said, it's got fuzz on it, and I know that's not something that everyone agrees on, if they had it or not, but
seems like
I love the way they did it.
It's so good.
Me too.
This is the first time I've seen anything in this clade that's really made me think, oh, it's a real animal.
Yeah.
Like my big criticism with I love the walking with monsters Gorgonopsid. It's so cool looking, but it looks so reptile-y. It looks very much this one really feels close to mammals.
Yeah, it feels like a half mammal. And that's what I was thinking too. It looks really, really good for what it is.
It's my understanding that there has been more recent developments in what the skull looked like in these, and so it was thought earlier they were narrow, but now it's they're wide skulled or something. That's just something I picked up on the internet. But also this kind of fits in the general big transitions theme that I can see this fitting into an episode about origin of mammals, but also the great dying. Whoa, my biology.
Sorry. The other detail that I noticed, they don't go back to it, is on the top of its head. You can kind of see a divot where the parietal foramen is, which is kind of neat. That was something that I have a friend of the channel, Nathan, who's also part of Jagged Fang, is going to be doing his master's program on synapsids and stuff. He did his undergrad research on Dimetrodon. So he's got a lot more nitpicks about this than I do, and he at first didn't notice the parietal little bump there. But also he said there's something about it, I'm not remembering though, that's still not quite right. I can't remember if it's if it should be more pronounced, I think. But I mean, it's cool that it's included at all. It means they were actually paying really close attention to details like that on the skull, and that's something I think that, I don't know, it reflects in the model because it actually looks good.
Yeah.
I like its goatee.
Oh no!
The mouth looks so
good.
Real.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. This is the first thing when I was watching the trailer that I saw it and I was actually excited for it. And I feel like that's been, as we'll get to with the other critters, I really don't care about the dinosaurs in this at all. It's been everything else about it that's been convincing me that I want to watch it.
It looks really, really good. I love this design aesthetic too, because I don't know much about the life appearance of Gorgonopsids, but I like that it does feel on some level like they designed it to communicate what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they really would have looked more mammalian or more reptilian, but I think making it something that has visual language of both a mammal and a reptile is a good way to communicate to people who might not know about these that, oh, I can see that being an early ancestor of ours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think sometimes that might be more important than even getting the true life appearance right, especially when you're going back 270, 280 million years, and there's so little possibility of knowing what the life appearance was.
This touches on something that I'll say now, just for the sake of having a segue. which is, it occurred to me as I was reading discussion about, merits of this documentary versus merits of others, which I don't really want to get into in this video. But a thought I had is that the real success of a documentary, obviously accuracy is extremely important, and we strive for it and we want to see it, but vibes are more important.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to educate the public, right? Because if the goal of the documentary is to appeal to specialists, then yes, you want accuracy first and foremost above everything, every minute detail to the highest degree you can get it. And it's lovely to see that. But if you want to educate a broad audience, having the vibes correct is much more important, because that's what's going to impart the message and is what's going to have staying power.
Yeah, and for this thing, I can totally see someone who doesn't know or has never heard of a Gorgonopsid be like, oh, it's like a weird dog. Because that's kind of that's the vibes it's giving me, versus the other in other documentaries, it's like, oh, it's a naked crocodile that stands up. What? It just doesn't make any sense, versus that's a dog, basically.
Right. And there's got to be a kind of a ratchet of different sorts of education you use at different points in your career and your life. Documentaries are, I think, by their nature and the way they're distributed, supposed to cast the widest net. This is I don't know anything about this, so let me see something that can give me some degree of knowledge about it.
Yeah.
And then, as you move on, you eventually make it to the technical literature through books and everything like that. I think the only source of science education that operates on all levels equally effectively is the Skeleton Crew, which is why if you are watching this video and you're enjoying it, you should consider liking the video and commenting on the video and subscribing to our channel, because we are science education for specialists and for the layperson alike. We are we are the voice of the people.
I think that's a good point, right? Because vibes, and Steven Spielberg, he's the king of vibes.
Right.
He knows how to make, something where you're I'm connecting with this. But famous documentaries, famous scientific documentaries, Silent World, right? It's a lot of, it's also a lot of blowing the seafloor up, but that's fun. That's a vibe. You get into that, but it's the first real something like that to just take you under and just shows you some fish. But that was the first time for a lot of people to see fish as the fish would see fish.
The Smilodons.
They look a
not
little
the biggest fan of these.
I like that they're creative with the pattern.
It's a fun pattern. I like the pattern. I'll hold my tongue at that.
I will freely say I'm not a specialist in this. I know that many people who are more knowledgeable than me have expressed various issues. I actually haven't kept track of what they were. I'm not also particularly interested in that. I think they're cute, and that's where I put my foot on the ground.
They are cute.
Yeah, we literally see them for half a second, so
yeah, so looking at it in freeze frame, I like the amount of furry detail in there. There's a lot of really high detail fur animation, and the fur in the ears is really I'm very impressed by.
I also like a bit of the battle damage of this guy has a couple notches on his ear.
Right. I'm going to hold my judgment on this. I don't think this is a particularly flattering little clip of them, but I think it's possible they look better from other angles and in motion.
Yeah. That is a chance.
One of the strengths of Prehistoric Planet was that they really do feel, in most of the shots, they really do feel like animals integrated into the environment. They're weak examples like stuff with Shamasuchus, but those are the exception, and maybe we're just seeing an exception here.
Possible.
Yeah.
Because we'll get to it, but later I feel like the cave lions or whatever they are looks a lot better already.
I think they do too.
Yeah.
And so I think we can skip past the mammoths because we get a much better view of them later.
Okay.
Right.
Those are mammoths.
Those are mammoths.
These are some T-Rexes and a big bright light. These are no longer some T-Rexes. But T-Rex, no T-Rex. One of them took a bite.
Yeah.
What if a bit? Yeah.
80 million joules.
Newtons.
Newtons. As I learned from the Skeleton Crew fan video that we'll link in the description to this video, I learned that a rocket ship taking off and achieving low Earth orbit emits uses about 1 million newtons of force.
I said that in the video.
Did you?
He did.
Okay.
Yeah.
He did.
Well,
part of the joke.
Yeah, so T-Rex is biting it twice or 2 orders of magnitude more, which sure makes sense. I study T-Rex, so I'm going to give my brief comment. I think they look good. They don't look just like the Prehistoric Planet T-Rex. I think there are some details where I prefer the Prehistoric Planet T-Rex's choices. I think in some details I actually prefer this, so I'm excited to see more of them when the documentary airs.
I really like the sexual dimorphism, that one of them is noticeably much brighter and has a more vivid pattern.
Yeah.
That's
I like
fun.
that.
I like that they're smooching.
Yeah, they're doing the nuzzle. It's cute. I like the shot. It's a good design.
Except for that thing in the background.
Uh-oh.
I don't like whatever's happening there. I am not a fan of that.
Oh
That-
no.
It's I only had seen like a screenshot of it when I watched. I was paying more attention to the dinosaurs than to that. I thought I'm like, oh yeah, I could see that being the sun in the sky. And it's like, no, it's moving.
Yeah, it's moving real fast.
It's actually,
like
the
this
sun
one.
moved super fast in the Cretaceous.
Oh yeah. Well, and that
Well,
was the
today
result
was only
of that.
23 hours long.
True.
Cells.
So
Yeah,
okay. Do we think that this is a Precambrian thing?
Yes.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I hope we're getting weird. I hope we're getting Cambrian. They haven't really shown any of it, but like
We could get
HD
some.
weirdos.
With 8 episodes, I bet we're getting Cambrian.
Yeah, Ediacar and stuff.
Ooh.
That'll
when
be fun.
Carpets.
Things barely look like they're alive.
Now, I think the little fish is more important. Can we go to the little
Little
fish?
fish.
Yeah, little
Yeah,
fish.
it's so cute.
Tremendous.
Oh,
They are absolutely adorable. These are little rhizodonts. These are these were confirmed on Twitter to be Strepsodus, which is a rhizodont from Europe. These are little baby ones. Rhizodonts, if you didn't know, got unreasonably big. Rhizodus itself is like a great white shark sized monster thing.
They're huge. I didn't really know how big they were until like a while ago. I was rewatching River Monsters, and there's a prehistoric like episode, and that's what he winds up picking as like the worst one because it is freshwater and it's massive. It is
And
so
they
big.
have fangs
Yeah, no,
that are like
I've
this
got-
big. It's bonkers.
I'll double check that there's no compromising information on the tags, but like when I took that vert paleo class at the museum, they brought out like one of the huge fangs of it. It was just
That's
absurd.
so
It's
cool.
so cool.
Also, I'm gonna I'll take another moment to plug that River Monsters episode as one of the better recent paleo documentaries. It's such a good thing featuring underknown creatures.
Yeah, it's
River
fantastic.
Monsters it's rad all around.
Yeah.
It
So
is
real.
good. Like to gush about it for a hot second because like I really really love freshwater fish. That's something that I don't know. I like to learn about and I like to watch River Monsters because like it is not just a fishing show, like which is I know like what some people think going into it. I remember Carr telling me when I was telling him about it that he had never watched it until recently because he thought it was just another fishing show, and I was like, no, check it out. And it's like, yeah, because Jeremy Wade is like actually kind of a scientist and knows what he's doing and respects the animals, but also respects like the places that he goes to, which is another thing that I think like a lot of the big superfish shows don't pay as much attention to like the culture surrounding fishing in different areas. And yeah, phenomenal show, love it.
Where can you watch it?
I was watching it on Discovery Plus.
Yeah, because it's
I
Animal
think-
Planet.
I don't have that.
It's on Max now.
It's on Max now too. Okay, cool. And I thought it was on, I believe, on Amazon too, but
Okay,
I don't know.
cool.
Yeah.
Well,
That sounds very cool.
So this little river monster is being consumed by a much larger river monster.
Yes.
The little guy looks so. I was just kind of like lost in the sand going over his pectoral fins when he walks earlier, and it just looks so good.
Yeah, he's really beautifully done.
And now he is done.
And now
He
he's
is
done.
done. Now we know what the big guy is too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. This is Anthracosaurus,
Okay.
which is an embolomere. They're this weird group of. I've heard them very frequently called like basically like tetrapod eels. Like a lot of them have very, very long bodies with very short limbs. This guy is being portrayed a little bit more terrestrially and with some more well-developed limbs than I normally see in Bolomir's shown as, but it's interesting. And it's a group that doesn't really get shown that much. They're some of the first like bigger carnivorous tetrapods, and it's really cool.
Sorry, is it an amphibian, or is it a reptile, or is it neither?
Good question.
Okay,
Things have put them around to like Reptilomorpha or like stuff.
I thought
like it's
when I first saw it, I thought it was going to be like one of those big, like, is it Labyrinthodontosaurus, like those big flat-headed amphibian things, or are those also these? And I just don't.
They were originally thrown into Labyrinthodontia, but they are not.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Super cool though. Early tetrapods is a lot of the stuff that I work on now, because that's a lot of the stuff that the folks at my lab and Dr. Pierce work on. So
it looks like they have because of the split. There's the Lissamphibia, temnospondyle, batrachomorph, I think generally, and then there's the reptilomorphs. And according to this chart I looked up, it looks like Embolomirs have the amniote, like intercentrum and plurocentrum condition.
Yeah, I think there's some pretty.
I don't know if that's definitive or anything. I'm just looking at a chart.
No, I to my understanding, there's a lot of debate surrounding exactly those kinds of features, where like,
but also
there's something
in like the Carboniferous.
Yeah. This is the coal swamp sort of thing. That like if memory serves, Anthracosaurus literally translates to the coal lizard. So it's gonna be a fun episode because we don't get to see this very much. I will say I'm gonna pull an Alex here for a quick second and looking at the roof of this thing's mouth. If memory serves, a lot of Embolomirs have extra teeth on the roof of their mouths, and this guy doesn't seem to have any, which is sad.
Hard to tell.
Hard to tell. In that shot there, there's, well, unless it's part of the fish, but there's like a shiny thing up in there.
Also,
sorry, go ahead.
Go for it, Amelia.
I was just gonna say, like, the funny thing about having an extra row of teeth is like that is actually the more common thing, and like mammals and dinosaurs are weird, and like birds don't count, but like among animals in general, like because the dominant animals today that we think of are mammals, we think of it as weird to have extra teeth, but like early synapsids also have extra teeth. Like when I first learned that Dimetrodon had like these horrible pads of bumpy teeth, I wanted to never hear about that animal ever again.
Mm-hmm. Because it's primitive to tetrapoda to have like a completely separate inset row of teeth, like that goes down the vomers and the palatines and the pterygoids, right?
Yes.
Sometimes they call pterygoids.
And some.
And I think that's what's happening. I believe that's what's happening in Dimetrodon and Adaphosaurus. I think they're ectopterygoids.
Adaphosaurus was named for it. They're awful.
Wait, I shouldn't say this.
So
don't cut this. But
hey, you know what else has extra teeth on the roof of the mouth, guys?
What?
Eoraptor has a row of pterygoid teeth. Yeah,
crazy.
Oh, that's cool.
It's one of the only example. I think it might be the only example in Dinosauria. Anyway, sorry, Dalton.
I have something that can be put in the video, which is that looking at the paper that describes Anthracosaurus, and it's the only image I can find of the fossil, it actually looks like it doesn't have like well-developed rows of palatal dentition. It has palatal dentition, but it's got like one or two big teeth on like each element. And it doesn't seem to have tons of little ones. Now, maybe that's taphonomic. I'm looking at a drawing from like the 1860s. So
where is this?
I just Googled Anthracosaurus. It's here.
Oh, you didn't share it?
No, I can. Hang on.
No, I'll just look it up.
So then there's a centipede of sorts.
Oh, you buffoon.
Guarantee it's Arthropleura.
No, I know.
You simple goof. Arthropleura is a millipede.
Are those different?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
One are friends, one are
both.
No, I mean, I know that they're different kinds of things. I thought they were all in one large clade together. I'm sorry.
Well, they are.
Okay, all right.
But
So it's a centipede of
and there's
sorts.
a scorpion there too. It looks like
Myriapoda, right? Is the name?
Myriapoda. Yeah.
Yeah.
no, thank you.
I don't have a lot to say about Arthroplura other than that it's like a 3-meter long millipede.
Oh yeah, big bastard.
Maybe
Big.
not that big.
And like
It's big.
wide.
I've always really liked it because of the prehistoric part.
Probably the largest terrestrial predator of its time. Terrestrial herbivore of its time. Sorry.
I was going to say it's not a
A
predator.
predator of plants of sorts.
But the color, I love the
It's
color
beautiful.
scheme they gave it here. It feels millipede.
It
I
actually.
think-
Go on, Amelia.
It looks like, I don't remember the name of them, but it's like a beetle or something. It's not
Trilobite beetle.
the trilobite beetle. Yeah, like that's what it. Well, is it the females only that look
Yep.
like that? Yep. They're really cool. Look them up,
They're
dudes.
beautiful.
I think
Oh,
every animated live action version of this animal has had this color scheme in some kind, like red,
No,
black, and
well-
yellow.
No, the
I've only ever seen
prehistoric
a
park one is like brown.
Which one?
As was the primeval version, I think.
Prehistoric Park, it was brown.
Mhm.
There's one that's like vibing and it rears up at Nigel and he's like, it's an herbivore, and then it leaves him alone.
It was just rearing up for goofs.
To scare them
Well,
off.
it was scared. It was threatened. Yeah, so it was being Cobra.
I love it. I don't have much else to say about Arthroplura.
Oh yeah,
And we don't
it's
see
just
much of
super
it.
cool.
Gross and brown. It's like poop.
Waves. This guy.
Squid.
Big squid.
Oh, it looks so good.
Do we know what species or genus this is?
It's probably some kind of endoceirid, just based on the size that it looks like it is.
Are those the big cones?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, you can see one in the background there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's some kind of it's nautiloids of this huge paraphyletic grade.
And they're huge. Some of
Mhm.
these got just absolutely mind-blowingly gigantic.
Yeah. It's probably
Yeah.
But
Camarasaurus.
don't give a specific length because I think I've heard some of them are wrong, but some of them do get big.
They're
I,
big, yeah.
I couldn't give a specific length off the top of my head if you had a gun.
Yeah.
Then
by
we're
it,
safe.
so.
I have seen online there's some discourse about various aspects of the anatomy of this thing that may or may not be correct, and I think it's just best to withhold such statements and discussion until more of it has been seen.
As we
Yeah.
said earlier, we are the skeleton crew.
This is soft.
Also, this may be updated. Like, we've already seen that from the first teaser of this to now, certain shots have been changed and models have been
Mhm.
updated, so this may not be the final model.
Yeah.
It looks
Now moving on
on
from the
here.
tube
Dunk.
or from the cone,
Dunk.
Dunk.
we have Dunk.
This is
Oh.
such a pretty dunk.
I was about to say he looks really crusty.
Oh, he does, but
Sorry.
in the best way.
about invertebrates, but in the orthocone shot, there are those huge sponge structures. And I'm curious if those
yeah.
are what are those Cambrian and Ordovician giant sponge coral things?
I
Mm.
don't know.
No one cares. I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
That's
I want to talk about Dunkleosteus, though. I like that he kind of has shark texture a little bit.
Mhm.
Not scaly, but smooth, which I think would probably be right. Did scales evolve at this point? I don't think they had.
Well,
they
it's-
had.
Had they? Do we know
Scales-
placoderms had?
Oh, or I guess I don't know if teeth had evolved yet. I just know scales evolved before teeth.
Yeah, this is Dunk, so there's are we talking phylogenetically or by this point in the late Devonian?
I mean, phylogenetically, yes.
Oh, then I don't know, actually.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because
I mean-
I could. Sorry, go ahead, Scott.
We always say, and I believe that we talked about in our video with Russell Engelman, which check it out because we're going to talk about a couple things related
Linked
to
below.
it. Is that they would have had the big armored heads and then a naked body, and because there have been impressions and body outlines, and I think that they were kind of skin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
gross.
I thought placoderms in general, that. I don't know why I thought I just never assumed that they had scales.
I don't think that they did.
Because why would you have scales over bony armor?
What are those silly jawless fish that are a triangle shape? I thought they had a weird kind of scale.
There's
Don't
a
you know what I'm
lot
talking
of
about, right?
silly triangle jawless fish. You mean
Yes.
They're tall. They're tall wise, and they have a short little fin at the back.
oh,
I think those might be acanthodians.
Hold on, I gotta look this up.
Well, in any case, while you look it up, I like that the skin texture reminds me of like a lamprey or a hagfish, like a something with a more primitive type of integument, but that it kind of has the specular qualities of shark skin and like the scarriness. I like that interpretation of like, what if you had a hagfish that was enormous and covered in battle scars, and also it's Dunkleosteus. I like that.
So
does it have like parasites on it?
I think it does, yeah.
For our own edification, it does appear that scales are in at least some placoderms.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Are they in arthrodires?
Yes. Yes, they are.
They are. Okay. All right. Well, then in that case, I may stand corrected.
But they also are
okay.
small.
So I did find what I was talking about. So they're called thelodonts, and they have like tiny tooth-like scales on them, and those are like jawless fish.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're way down, at least relative to jawed.
What I like about this is that it makes Dunkleosteus feel like a big ugly fish in a not glamorous way.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Dunkleosteus is one of those animals that I think is kind of hard to reconstruct and not try to make it look like a sea monster of some sort. Like I love the Jurassic World design, but it doesn't feel quite like a big ugly animal in the way that like big fish are beautiful in their way, but they're very ugly in another way.
Oh my god,
yes. And I like that this is kind of gross. It doesn't look cool.
It's the dunk size.
Right.
Like a doll.
It's got
like a doll's eyes.
I like the depiction. I don't study art.
It does have black doll eyes in this, which I like.
Mm-hmm. It does. I love this. It feels menacing and like imposing, but not in a in an overdone cool way.
Jellyfish.
It's like cool and ugly in the way that like an anglerfish is cool and ugly. Like you're looking at it and it's like, oh, that's gross.
Yeah.
But cool. And like, yeah, there's nothing in those eyes but like
but love for its little children that it has here.
Oh yeah, those are little ones, aren't they?
It has children.
Oh, cute.
Maybe
3 of them.
And I like the body shape.
Yeah.
It's not as short as Russell's work has made it appear to be, but it is roughly the kind of right body profile of being like tuna-like in shape.
Yeah. A little bit. Like, again, it does need more, but it is better than like the long sharky kind of look previously. And fun fact, I also did just learn that apparently there is now a mod for Jurassic World Evolution 2 to make it the shrunk dunk.
Thank God.
Let's go on. Some explosions. We got volcanoes. Yes, Amelia.
I said there's a squam.
Oh, I heard. Hold on.
No, I'm moving past the volcano.
We don't.
No, there's a lizard.
Yeah, Komodo dragon. Hell yeah, you know him, you love him.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then we have Anchiornis.
Did you want to say more about the Komodo dragon?
No, well, I have a thought. I wonder. Go back to it for a hot second. I guess it is low to the ground and it is not CGI. I had the first time I saw it, I had half a thought that I was wondering if it was Megalanium.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they have either a coda or like if this is from an intro sequence, like we said already, or if there's like a coda about cool animals in the modern world. Like hey, you may think all the interesting things are dead, but look at the beauty in the world around you now.
But you're right.
But you're right, absolutely. Especially when it comes to like sloths. All the cool sloths are dead.
That is true.
What if they do a Pleistocene episode, but it's all practical effects? So they have kids, and they're like, there were groups of hominids that lived with varanids that would appear giant, and they just throw the kid in there.
Oh, yeah, they'll do like a fun reverse on those old like horror movies from back in the day when they just like stapled fins on the back of tegus and had them fight to the death.
Like a huge rat at them too.
Yeah, they're like, listen, guys, we're sorry we ran out of CGI budget after 7 episodes. We got to make some cuts and some changes to episode 8.
We fed some children to a Komodo dragon.
Pretty cool stuff.
We all sacrifice for art.
Yeah.
Look at this little guy.
More than most.
He's base jumping.
It really does remind me of that one like memed image of the dude like base jumping into that one like cave hole.
This is such a beautiful shot, though. I love the way the feathers are interacting. I even love they did the shaggy kind of body feathering that is now inferred for Anchiornis, where like, and this is actually kind of contrary to a lot of art of these animals that's made now that really references extant birds, but analyses of the body feathers preserved on these animals indicates that they were kind of like not what we'd think of as the modern bird contour feather, but that they're like kind of a fuzzier, more degraded feather type.
Mm-hmm.
So they look like a man in a suit.
Well, I don't know if I don't know if I would say that exactly, but they would be more.
Are you sure? Like, Scott, play it a couple more seconds. A couple more.
What?
He's T-posing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there are things I would maybe critique about some aspects of this.
He's caked up.
He's caked up.
Oh my god!
Never mind. I'll make my point in another episode. I don't care.
Sorry, James.
It's okay.
We're gonna go.
All I'm saying is that I think it's really nice to see that amount of research and detail has been put into the way this animal's depicted.
Oh no, it's gorgeous.
But I mean, it's not just pretty. It is accurate in a way that is probably less pretty than the way it's often drawn.
Yeah.
And I like that. What'd you say?
What, Alex?
The planet for the plot.
Yes.
Right.
The plot.
I also, my prediction will be like, I guarantee that the way that this scene is going to go is he's getting hunted by whatever theropod that is, and then just gets to a like, oh no, what's going to happen? Then he just pulls a Tom Cruise and base jumps off this cliff, and
he's doing an intercontinental move. He's like, I'm sorry, I have to move across the continent here. I'm going to North America.
It's that peace fade out gif.
Yeah. But after him, we get another little shot at the mammoths.
The Manok.
Oh, they look cool, man.
They look great. A real quick thing that has been pointed out that they included in the model of these is this kind of like extra like kind of bulge and these folds in the trunk right here, which have been given the absolutely adorable name of mammoth mittens, which were these soft tissue structures that were hypothesized to help when the mammoth like curls their trunks up, keep the tip of the trunk from getting frostbite and kind of help kind of encompass the whole thing. And I'm going to put a big asterisk next to all of that because it's incredibly controversial, and a lot of it is debated to really be taphonomic. Maybe it's just soft tissue degradation because there's like one or two trunks that show something that looks like that, and then there are some better preserved ones that definitely don't have it. So like it's a little up in the air, but I do think that it again shows the level of research that went into these models, and mammoth mitten is an adorable phrase.
It is.
But so after the mammoths, though, we get the cave lions.
Yeah, love this.
Yeah, they look
stunning.
fantastic.
I love them.
Do we know if they were white?
No.
Like they're always depicted as white, but
I think we actually know a little bit because we have cave paintings. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that whole thing of like that we kind of know the patterning behind like woolly rhinos and like megalosaurus and stuff because cave paintings are relatively consistent on how they draw them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys in terms of like structure. So I don't think they're going to be cutaway like interviews during this thing where it's like the science, blah, blah, blah. But do we think like the narration will be like scientists think that it like looks like this because of something? Because of X. Do we think we're going to get, they're going to address that, or do we think they're just going to kind of leave that out more like dinosaurs and Prehistoric Planet?
I hope so, because I feel like that's the point of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's not meant to be in a strange irony, it's not meant to be narrative in the way that Prehistoric Planet was kind of meant to be. Like it was meant to be. I don't mean this like in a derogatory way, but it's like Prehistoric Planet is meant to be like make believe, where you're just pretending that this is life in the moment and talking about it like that. Versus like the energy that I get from this so far is it's like a documentary where the narrator is telling you why we know these things.
The one thing I think that goes in the opposite direction is that we're getting a companion book for the show.
Oh, really?
Which means maybe that's going to contain information that isn't shared by the narration. But yeah, I have no clue.
That's pretty cool.
That's honestly a great thing, though, because like with all of the time they spent getting a lot of expert consultation, I like that there's something more that it's going into. Like
the Walking With series had that fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was wonderful.
Yeah, I still have my copy.
I love that.
I got it at a bookstore on the Vineyard, and it's closed, but like I must have been like 10 or 11, and I was basically inseparable from it for like 2 years.
Yeah.
I have a quick stupid question.
Wait, I have to. I made a quick stupid before, and I want to correct it if that's okay. So it turns out. So I had heard a lot about cave lions being white because of cave paintings, and apparently the only hair sample that's been analyzed indicates a similar color to modern lions, but paler.
Mm.
So it wouldn't be a pure white, but maybe like a pale yellow, kind of like some lions get.
Which, I mean, honestly, is kind of how they look. Like they're in shadow, so it's hard to say. But they don't.
This is a white animal.
Yeah, that looks pretty white to me.
It's also.
I mean, listen,
it's possible.
But also, if a lion
dress
was lighter, I would call it white. Like, what is your point?
Well, I mean, I think they would be more yellow than this. But having seen that dress that broke the internet, I'm not going to say anything about color on something that's in shadow.
It's also possible they might have had seasonal coloration, like other Arctic animals. I don't know if that. Do you know if the color that they're basing that information on is like from genes, or is that just the color of the hair they have?
I think it's a pigment analysis of the hair that they have.
Okay, so I wonder if that would be if they could detect that and they ruled it out. I don't know enough about it to say one way or the other.
Let me just look at.
I think.
Well, so there were the frozen cubs that were kind of yellowish, but the cubs, and cat cubs are often a different color than the adults.
I think for the purposes of this, I think we've probably provided enough information before we see the actual episode.
Yeah, move on.
Wait, I'm sorry. Let me just read this verbatim because it might answer this. In addition, the cave lion is thought to have had a very thick and dense undercoat comprising closed and compressed yellowish to white wavy downy hair with a smaller mass of darker colored guard hairs.
So, okay, kind of almost like reverse grizzled.
Right.
What do you
like a husky. Like a husky, but I think Dalton's point is good that animals in these kinds of climates are often very seasonal with coloration, and I think that's very possible. Before we move on, Amelia, you had a stupid question.
Yes.
Stupid question. Are cave lions and American lions the same thing?
No.
Okay.
They're both
This is why I don't like common names in prehistoric animals.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, cave lion is Panthera spelaea, and American lion is Panthera atrox.
Okay,
and I think Panthera atrox is the largest known Panthera.
Yes, well, that's why I wanted to know if it was that one, because the first time I saw a model skull of one was just this past spring, and I was like, oh no! So it was at the Whiteside Museum, and they have done in Seymour, Texas, and they have this really cool assemblage of cast skulls of various cats going from house cat to American lion, and they have the American lion next to a tiger, Siberian tiger, which is the largest cat alive today. And it's it is bigger, and it's oh my god.
There's a life-size model of one at the San Diego Zoo because they've structured several of their enclosures around most of the zoo is geographically organized. And then their elephants, their lions, their condors, and a bunch of other stuff are in one corner where it's this is the La Brea tar pits. These are all the animals that were here 10,000 years ago, and they have a model lion.
So cool.
I didn't realize how big they were until I saw that, and I was scared now. I know they're extinct.
And they also have they have their jaguars there because jaguar bones are quite common at La Brea.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. That's one of the... I love that exhibit. I was there a couple of months ago, and that was just oh my god, I loved it.
I grew up with the... Sorry, I was cutting you off.
Weren't you 2?
No, I went back almost every
Wait.
single summer
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know
until I was like
From California.
in my early teens to go
I'm
visit
sorry.
my grandparents.
I remember when you were like, "Oh, I'll tell you what to do in my old stomping grounds," and I was like, "Scott, you moved away when you were 18 months."
Yeah, that was a joke.
Ample stomping time. 'Cause that's all toddlers need.
This is too much time to talk about a mammal. Let's move
Are you
on.
sure? I think that we can squeeze out another 45 minutes on this thing.
Let's move on.
Well, there's a mammal-like reptile now that we might want to talk about for 45 more minutes.
Oh,
A wise old man.
That's how done.
He's
been
gorgeous.
woken up too early.
He was woken up by the apocalypse outside, and he's going to go back to bed.
Not since Dune have I seen a CGI creature that looked this dusty.
Oh god,
Like-
he's dusted.
He's so.
There's not a single conscious thought behind those eyes.
And
They really
I'm
did
pretty-
a great job. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. I was cutting you
I was
off.
going to say they really did a great job of capturing the inside of my tent at Petrified National Forest.
The dustiest campsite on earth.
I was just gonna say my friend Nathan had I believe only good things to say about this. Which
Well, like it looks like it could be based on that mummy.
yeah.
It looks great.
I like
He's
that he's
so-
like ready to go.
I
He
like that
conveys-
he's. Go on.
He conveys a similar amount of intelligence to like Timothée Chalamet in any role he plays. Like just a complete vacuity. Like shine a light through one ear and you see the light on the other side, clear as day.
Did he beat the shit out of you? So like, why do you talk about him so much?
Do you want to know the real reason? It's because his mom and I agreed that he shares a somewhat resemblance with him, and he's
And I
not
hate that
happy
more
about
than
that.
anything.
Well, hold on. You're gonna.
Well-
This is gonna kill you. My mother recently told me that I remind her of Jason Momoa, and I laughed so
What?
hard. Yeah, she's like, "Oh, your beard and your hair," and I'm like, "That's possibly the most generous thing anyone has ever said to me."
Well, you see,
I
here's the
have
thing.
a
I
beard
think coming
and
from
hair.
Amelia and my
Do
mother
I
being
look like
compared-
Jason Momoa?
Well, your hair's not long enough.
That's the only thing that's keeping me from Jason Momoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Grow out your hair.
You're
What do you think
No,
I'm doing?
wow.
The thing is, Alex, coming from my mom and Amelia, I don't think being compared to Timothée Chalamet is a compliment.
No. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I thought
It's
I was
okay.
crazy, and I think before I told you about it, I told Jacob about it, and he's like,
I thought
Oh,
Jacob
yeah.
was the first one who said it.
I think he's the
Didn't-
first
weren't
one
we,
who verbalized it. Yeah,
Yeah, weren't we walking to Dune and he was like, James kind of looks like Timothée Chalamet.
yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
look anything like Timothy Chalamet.
That's what I said.
I'm not convinced that any of you have seen another person.
I don't think I look like Jason Momoa. I was laughing and disagreeing.
Well, my point now is going to be broken apart. I was going to say if it was just me or just me and Jacob having this thought, I would be fine being called crazy. But the fact that James' own mom agreed with us, independently, I might add.
I've got him on my other monitor. I've got Timmy up. I'm looking at every image I can, and I'm trying. I just can't make it. I can't make the connection happen.
It's like Fidel and.
I think we have dark hair that is.
Well,
textured.
I don't. Okay, so here's a sad thing. I don't remember what you look like without facial hair, so I don't really know what the bottom of your face
and
looks.
It's not that. It was more. We agreed it was more like this region. That was the similarity.
Maybe I'm so distracted by Tim's just like
turn
utter chat change.
Hidden profile. More. No.
Thanks.
Is this?
You make me feel better.
I have an idea.
You
Should
don't
this be
look
our
like it.
first Patreon poll?
Yes.
Yes. Does James look like Timothée Chalamet? Yes. No.
No.
Answer on Patreon.
Okay.
That's fun.
Yes, but
Yes,
in
and
a
if
good
you-
way.
if-
Yes, in the bad way. No.
Yes. And hey, guys, if you want to vote in that poll, if you feel very strongly about this and want me to be either very happy or very sad, consider supporting us on Patreon. Let's talk about it.
Let's move beyond this.
Yes.
Anyway,
Did anyone else have anything to say about Lystrosaurus before we move on? We're going to talk about it a lot in the episode, I'm sure, because I bet it's going to be very important for the theme of the episode.
Also, it will be in one of our episodes of Jurassic World.
Well,
Indeed,
yeah.
absolutely. I just want to say that I love that he's giving up just about as much intelligence as that rock on the left there. And it makes me very happy.
I like the rectangularness of his head.
He's a boxy boy.
This pig will inherit the earth.
Dingosaurs.
Hey, look, Titanosaurs.
Hey, look, it's that scene everyone was being a weirdo about when the first trailer came out.
Yeah, I feel like here's a hot take. I actually like the way the prior version looked a little bit better.
I like this more.
Yeah, I don't love the Titanosaur body from a distance. I'm gonna have to wait until I really see it in motion, but I like the design of the like old, long, low sauropod, even if it's not more accurate. I just kind of liked it aesthetically. Yeah. But this looks great, and I don't know. Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it does look a little CG-y too in the shot.
Yeah.
And I think
it's maybe that like a lot of the shots with the CGI, the color's very saturated.
Yeah.
Well, it could be. I mean, it could be why Prehistoric Planet usually tries to show the really big ones in like an open environment. It might just be like when you put it up against water,
or trees,
we all have an experience within our lives, and like dense trees, it's harder to sell.
Yeah. But that's the whole trailer, right? No, then there's the T-Rex doing the walking with dinosaurs thing.
Honestly, looking at it in profile like that, stunning.
The T-Rex?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing, everybody. Hear me out. The one design I don't love in Prehistoric Planet is the T-Rex.
Oh, no. Why does he say it?
No, well, here's the thing, and I don't think it's anybody's like fault. I think the production probably relied pretty heavily on images of Sue's skeleton because Sue is the most well-documented, most well-photographed T-Rex specimen that exists. But the skull reconstruction in the Sue mount at the Field Museum, in my opinion, is a little overly flattened and long, and a little bit like kind of squashed to side relative to what we see in very complete articulated Rex skulls. I think this skull shape is kind of, to my knowledge and to my perspective, hitting the true animal a little bit more closely.
You know what I really like about this shot of T-Rex?
What's that?
When he kind of rears up a bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It evokes to me like just the outline of like the Tyrannosaurus and the Zallinger mural.
Yeah.
A great beast.
Yeah, I am an advocate and a proponent. I mean, I'm an understander first of all that the horizontal theropod is the correct theropod, as a neutral pose. But I also
the base horizontal theropod understander.
I also am a proponent of let's stand them up a little more for displays. These animals are impressive when they're tall and you have to crane your neck up at them, and they could certainly achieve poses like this.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Yeah,
stunning.
I mean, I would not be surprised if the average angle for theropods at rest was a little bit more than 0 degrees.
You know, it's actually it's another thing that I've
with this.
It's another thing that I've noticed in Prehistoric Kingdom that they do that with their theropods. They're all just a little bit up, and it looks very nice.
I love this shot.
Oh, it's so pretty.
I do remember afterward, I think I watched this trailer with my sister first, and then I asked you guys the same question at some point. I was like, is that a man impersonating Morgan Freeman?
Time is not
He's
kind.
Just aging. Yeah.
Time has not been kind. He's an older man. I don't mean that as a derogatory thing. He's an old man and his voice has changed a little bit, but I could not tell at first if it was like they got the impersonator on Cameo or something. They're like, just do the trailer. I have one parting thought, if I may, and okay. I don't mean to preempt anything anybody else would say, so I apologize if I do. I think that I've seen a lot of people comparing this to Prehistoric Planet, kind of by reflex, which makes sense. Prehistoric Planet is, the landmark paleo documentary of the early 2020s. I think that there are completely different motivations behind these shows. And I think that should be considered when we evaluate them. Mm-hmm. Like Amelia said before, Prehistoric Planet is really made with the kind of conceit that this is a snapshot into a moment in life in the past as if it were now. And it's filmed in a way to make you think that. everything is filmed like it's a real nature documentary. The animals interact with the camera, right? It's designed in that way. And I think that the amount of incredibly rigorous reconstruction and the very, very photorealistic special effects kind of support that premise. This to me feels much more like it is supposed to be your grandpa who knows a lot about paleontology telling you the story of life.
Mm.
And I think it's okay for it to be a little bit more like almost painterly in the CGI, where like it is good and it suggests reality, but I don't think every shot needs to fool you into thinking it's a real animal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that doesn't make it bad CGI. I think it's got a different artistic intention. I don't think that the fact that the CGI in Prehistoric Planet is objectively more convincing makes this a bad documentary. In fact, I think this will be a very good documentary. Just like the fact that the CGI in Walking with Dinosaurs was much, much, much worse than the CGI in Jurassic Park did not make Walking with Dinosaurs bad.
No.
Watch Walking with Dinosaurs now. It does not look good.
Oh, the models do.
The models do.
Some sequences look way better than others.
Right. Don't look at the inside of the animals' mouths.
I won't.
Do not look. So yeah, I think that that's a good thing to keep in mind, especially considering that the show's not out yet. This is about teaching you the story of life in a kind of beautiful and artistic and narrative focused way. And I think that that's a nice thing. I like to see things with different intentions doing different things.
I will say, for me personally, I think after having seen a trailer, I'm more excited for this than I was for Prehistoric Planet, because I think what I enjoy in my documentaries, and this is, about prehistory, about life in general, is like stuff that I'm not super immediately familiar with. So like Maastrichtian dinosaurs, I think about a lot, but I don't think about like, rhizodonts or like Coelurthocones or synapsids. And I think really the Paleozoic stuff just kind of jumped out and grabbed me. And, this is again, not anything at this is not a lament of Prehistoric Planet, because that documentary has Simosuchus clarkii, literally the best animal to ever exist, and also a dinosaur I named. And I am, you know what life on our planet won't have? Probably those two things. So, pros and cons.
But if they do, then this is a better documentary.
No. Maybe. Depends. We'll have to see. And also, I haven't seen a lot of pterosaurs in this, and Prehistoric Planet it's done some PR for pterosaurs.
Oh my God, yes.
It's done some PTER for pterosaurs.
Kick him.
Thank you all for watching and going along with us as we dissected every frame of this trailer, as we are wont to do. I think this is a long video, but if you compare the length of the video to the length of the trailer we're reacting to, I think this might be our best ratio. I could be proven wrong, but if I am, just don't tell me. I need this. And what I also need to do is thank our patrons. So we have a Patreon, for those who don't know, and if you feel so inclined, we'd welcome you to join the Patreon. Doing so gives you a number of benefits, including access to the Skeleton Crew Discord, which is a really great environment. We're all having a lot of fun in that Discord, amongst other things, and there's a link for that in the description. But among the benefits of the Patreon is having your name listed in the credits that are rolling right now. All of our Patreons we credit because we truly appreciate the contribution you make to getting all of these videos created. And for patrons of the Gorgosaurus tier and higher, we also do a verbal shout-out. And so now commence the verbal shout-out. We'd like to especially thank Benjamin Seepser, nickname 3110, Philip Fico, Andrew Niddle, Dan O'Kyrus, Florida Man, King Zasu, and if we say your name incorrectly, please let us know, Max Ironpaw, Riley Shiro, and Wheat. Thank you all very much to those patrons, and thank you to all of our patrons. And thank you to all who watch. If you watched and don't want to or can't join the Patreon at this time, it does help us out to like and subscribe and comment on the video. it does make the algorithm machine go burr.
It also makes us go burr because we like to read your comments.
Yes. The serotonin helps me fight the Sunday scaries.
All right, guys. Thank you all. Thank you, Dalton, for reading all the patron names.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.